Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Press. We're reaching you live from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. All right, before we went on that break, we promised to bring in our analysts to help us analyze on the stories that we're reading out to you. And now phone lines are now officially open, so you can call in to make your contributions or ask your question. My guest on the show this morning is Richard Oriri. He is a journalist. Great to have you on the show again.
It's my pleasure.
All right, so let's go straight to the headlines for this morning. Quite a number of stories to analyze on, but then we'll manage the next 40 minutes we have to see how we can push all stories together. The Punch newspaper, in fact, all newspapers this morning has the same headline. NLC protest, Tinubu's 500 billion naira subsidy palliative, demand 300% pay rise. So the rider says reps to sit on the 500 billion naira subsidy relief request today. Federal government labor for fresh negotiations. But then NLC and TUC are coming out to say that 500 billion naira is not enough for 125 million poor Nigerians affected by deregulation, either subsidy removal and all. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Annabel, good morning.
Good morning.
That's a very big question. Yes, the 500 billion naira loan. Was it loan? Yes, that the president presented before the National Assembly yesterday for approval. I think is the right thing to do presently, because since the removal of fuel subsidy, which was done on the 29th of May this year, when he was taking the oath of office, since then there have been so many issues on ground. And personally, I am feeling it, you are feeling it, everyone is feeling it. Now fuel was supposed to be sold for 537 naira. But in most filling stations, they sell for 540 naira, 545 naira, and nobody is regulating these prices. And most of the filling stations, they are not even selling the normal pump price. The normal pump. Most of the filling stations have adjusted their pump already, and it's affecting Nigerians. Like this 500 billion naira request by the president, I think if that will be channeled to the right people, which are the poor people, the poor citizens of this country, I think it will go a long way in cushioning the effect of this subsidy removal. But the issue we used to have in the country is this possibly ethnic cards that we play. Like the previous administration, which is the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, you see what happened when they sell the 10,000. Was it COVID? Not just COVID-19. This Ministry of Welfare, the welfare minister or something. What is that woman?
Humanitarian Affairs.
Humanitarian Affairs. The woman, almost every month, she spent over 500 billion naira, or CBN released over 500 billion naira or 500 billion naira to humanitarian affairs for Nigerians. How many citizens got that pay? And majority of this payment was mailed to the northern region, and now is President Tinubu. President Tinubu has come, and now he want the way he has started his administration. There's hope anyway, but the ethnic card, we cannot expunge it completely from Nigerian politics. I pray this is not channeled towards just one region. This is not channeled just towards one ethnic group. This is not channeled just towards one religion. I pray it is channeled to the generality of Nigerians. And like what the NLC are saying, I think if truly the current administration want to cushion the effect of this COVID-19, this subsidy that has been removed, the best thing to do is to increase workers' salary, because majority of these workers, they have chain of people attached to them, and if their salary is increased, definitely it will go down to helping more other persons that are on the chain of their responsibility. And again, if like NYC, if they will continue the payment to NYSC's officials, like Nigerian graduates. If you graduate and you join NYSC, presently what they are paying them is about 33,000 or 32,000 something naira. And after you pass out, I want this current administration, it's a suggestion, after you pass out, since there's no job anywhere, after passing out, federal government should increase their pay to 50,000 naira, and it should be a continuous until you have what you are doing. If you have employment, then they will now
Are you saying that? Are you saying that the federal government should keep paying people that are not working?
NYSC's, no, they should keep paying NYSC's graduate. That is a Nigerian graduate. After you graduate, if you join NYSC and you are serving, after the service, until you get job.
So just sit at home and get paid? Is that what you mean?
Muammar Gaddafi did that. He was paying all citizens of Libya. He will give you housing, he will give you accommodation, he will give you house, build house, and distribute to citizens. Once you are a citizen of Libya, you have salary.
Okay, now let's come back. Let's come back. You made quite a number of statements, but let's unbundle some of them. Now, if you have to talk about this 500 billion naira to be given to Nigerians, and which is called palliative, I think I have an issue with the fact that it's called palliative, because if you recall what happened during the COVID-19 palliative, where you have corrupt people who are supposed to be public office holders, they're supposed to share XYZ amount of materials, palliatives, but they hoarded it and they just left it in a warehouse and left it to spoil, and they knew how all that went down. So in terms of corruption, how do you now have to deal with, aside, because you talked about playing the ethnic card, so apart from that, you still have to deal with corruption in that regard? Now that's one on the side. I'm going to ask you two questions and I'd like you to put them in together. That's one on the side. And then secondly, you talk about the value chain for civil servants, and then you said that yes, you agree to salary increase, but then you recall that whenever the market woman hears that salary has been increased for civil servants, it jacks up the price of items in the market. They don't even know, no one to know how much was added, even if it's 10 naira that was added. But then if a bag of rice was sold for 40,000, as long as civil servants' salaries has now been increased, it will definitely get to, let's say, 50,000. So how do you now deal with such? Because no matter how much you increase the salary, the market woman will still increase her own part. So is it ever enough?
Price increase in Nigeria is not influenced by any other external force. It's influenced by internal force. It's a self-made thing in Nigeria. The moment, like this fuel subsidy removal, the moment they remove the fuel subsidy, you see everything in the market went up. Because market women, they said before, they used to transport from this point to this point for 500 naira, now it's 1,500. They increased their price. Before, Kubwa to Federal Secretariat was 200 naira, now is 500 naira. It's because of the fuel subsidy that was removed. There is no how you will tag that to market to women engagement. Once workers' salary is increased, definitely marketers, they will increase prices of their goods, but it will not go bad at all like what we are seeing today. The increase in prices of foods in the market as a result of the subsidy that was removed cannot be equated with what will happen if workers' salary is increased. Because most of these market women, they are civil servants. After work, some of them go to the market to sell vegetables, sell rice, sell other things in order to help their families. So there is no how they will say, now that my salary has been increased, let me increase what I am selling in the market. At least it will go a long way if workers' salary is increased. 300% or 30%, what it is, they say 300%. 300% is enough. At least as a graduate, every graduate in Nigeria, they are placed on level 8, step 2. And if every graduate in Nigeria, level 8 in Nigeria civil service, if level 8 can be placed at least for 150,000 naira, it's not too much for federal government not to pay. They have more than that to pay workers in Nigeria. Even if level 8 can be collecting 200,000 naira, it's not much. If you collect 200,000 naira, at least you have 100,000 to save. Then the remaining 100,000 naira, you put something like 70,000 naira for food items in the house, then 30,000 naira for transportation to work, and all of those things. At least it will be better. Workers' salary should be increased. Then, or if you come to the area of youth, the past administration does not have any single data concerning Nigerian students. I want this federal government. Nigerians are saying that this current administration of President Tinubu should take accurate data of those that comes out of universities every year, and accurate data of those that go for NYSC service every year. And as they are leaving service, as you are passing out, if you are passing out, what they pay them now is about 33,000 naira. If you are passing out, they should still take their data, the data of those that are passing out, and try to increase their pay to at least 50,000. If every graduate in Nigeria, after leaving school, will be placed on a monthly salary of 50,000 naira, this palliative, I think that is the best way, because that one will reduce crime. It will reduce a lot of things, burden on politicians and burden on all these our criminals and corrupt officers that manage our resources.
Let's stay on, because you talked about students. Now, the Guardian newspaper says inflation and higher education, tough times for students and parents as schools hike fees by 200%. And we already understand the fact that some families, they don't even have one child in school. So just to now start dealing with the fact that in some schools, I recall when I talked about, in some schools, I know that there are some schools in Abuja here that pays over 2 million naira as tuition fees. So imagine having 200% increase in that school fee starting from September. How far so far?
The only way out of this problem is to revamp our public school system. The public school system in Nigeria is so bad that 80 to 85% of citizens, they go to private schools. And if you read economics, it says very simple mathematics. Once there's increase in demand for anything, the price will definitely go up. There's so much demand for private school in Nigeria, and that is why proprietors, owners of private schools, they are now using that opportunity to cash out. If public schools can be revived, public schools can be taken care of. If you go to just take a walk around some of these public schools in Abuja, go to Gwarimpa, you see public school, public primary schools. You see what is going on there. The environment are not conducive for learning. If you go to secondary schools that are owned by government, you will see that the environments are not conducive for learning. A whole school from primary 1 to primary 6, you see just 4 teachers. How can will learning take place in such an environment? But if you go to private schools, in just one, let's say nursery 1, we have more than 2-3 teachers, nursery 1. If you go to nursery 2, they will have more than 4-5 teachers. And they pay their teachers very well. And these teachers, they are imparting the knowledge that the parents want their children to acquire. They are imparting the knowledge. So if you go to private school, what you will not get in public schools, they are getting it in private schools. And that is the reason for the increment. So what we are saying in Nigeria today is that federal government and state government, all stakeholders involved in education, giving education to citizens, they should try and increase what will make our public schools to be okay for our citizens.
Right. I'm sure that's the reason why you have on Daily Sun, they say six people score 1 mark each as NECO releases 2023 Common Entrance Exam. When you don't have a conducive environment for learning, how would you actually give out what you didn't receive? All right, still on Daily Sun newspaper, says army to governors, give us free hands to deal with terrorists as they reject call for amnesty for bandits. Let's talk about this one, and then the South East security. I saw a particular headline. I'm trying to find it, but I can't get it. Where you have the southeastern governors came together and said that they're going to stop this continuous sit-at-home order, and then they're going to deal with Simon Ekpa. What are your thoughts on this? How far will they actually get with that? I don't know if I should call it a promise or order.
That meeting, I was privileged to be in the meeting. I was not in with them. I was outside. The meeting took place at Imo's Lodge at Asokoro in Abuja. Sometime this week, was it on Monday or so, or weekend? I was there with a friend, an honorable member, not just governors. It's a meeting of all stakeholders from the southeastern region of the country. House of Representative members, senators and governors, and even ex-governors, ex-senators and the House of Reps. The step they have taken is a good one, because what is happening in the Southeast is not something that anyone at all, it's not a regional matter, it's a national issue. It's not something that only the Southeastern leaders should take up themselves alone. It's a national issue, and the problem, just like I said earlier, that we're having in the country is the problem of ethnicity. We pay more loyalty to our ethnic line than loyalty we pay to the Nigerian state. They should not take such action on those boys. I can call them those boys, not just tagging them as SCN, ECN, and IPOB and all of it. Yes, they shouldn't take very drastic action. It requires a political solution. Now they have they have a tool that they use as their bargaining tool. Their bargaining tool is Nnamdi Kanu to be released. First was to say they want to have Biafra. Now their leader, Nnamdi Kanu, they say Nnamdi Kanu should be released. If Nnamdi Kanu is released and they will drop their guns, I think it will be a very good, a very nice step to take.
But don't you think that it has actually gone way beyond what Nnamdi Kanu actually envisaged at the beginning? Because we recall some time ago where Nnamdi Kanu came out to say that he has asked them to stop this killing. So it means that this group must have been infiltrated. So don't you think even if he gets released, do you actually think that this will stop in the long run?
The problem is that there's no much for this youth to do within their environment.
Other than killing people?
No. When I schooled in the East and when we were in the university, this gangsterism of let's say a clique group thing, they corner it to courtesan. And when they were doing that court issue, what they do is robbery, going to different hostels to rob, just to go and drink and carry women. Now schools in the East, such things are no longer in vogue in the East presently. Now what they are, the umbrella they are using to cover their crime now is Biafra agitation. And they now have a leader called Nnamdi Kanu. See, since their own point now is Nnamdi Kanu to be released. I know Nnamdi Kanu's issue is a legal matter because the case is before the court of law. The court, you can't separate the court, the judiciary from the executive. They work hand in hand. Since they work hand in hand, it's something that they will have to bring heads together. Both the legislators, the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary, they should put heads together and see how they will give political solution to the southeastern problem. Right. The youth there, they are redundant. They are not lazy people. The southeasterners are not lazy people.
Right.
The southeasterners, from 4 years, they feed themselves. They fend for themselves. They don't even rely on their parents to giving them 1 naira, 2 naira to buy soap and all of that. They struggle for themselves. But since this agitation has come up and the idea is to say we need Biafra, the current administration now of President President Tinubu is doing a lot to see how all Nigerians will be carrying along. So they should calm down, bring down their arms, and see what the current government, like if you see the chief of army staff is from Enugu State. It wasn't like that in the previous administration. So too many other positions will come and it will be distributed equally to all regions and all tribes. So if the agitation is that they have been sidelined for long, they should calm down and wait for what this current government
All right, let's go to other stories. Still on insecurity, Vanguard newspaper says jihadists from Niger, Mali, Libya taxing Nigerian farmers, and that you have on responding to that coming from MBL says it is unacceptable for bandits from outside Nigeria to tax our Nigerian farmers. That's also a statement coming from the House of Rep member. So in this, like I asked before, really, let me use the Nigerian parlance. We think concern Aguru with overload. What's their business with Nigeria?
It concerns all of us. It concerns all of us.
I mean, how do you have Mali people from outside to come and tax them?
The problem there is the porous borders that we have, more especially within the northern part of the country. All these Niger, Malians, and which other country you mentioned there?
Libya.
Niger, Mali, Libya. They infiltrate the country from the northern part. In the southeast, the challenge of security we are having in the southeast is this ACN and IPOB of 18, which is an internal issue, internal security matter that can be resolved. But these Libyans and Malians coming into the country from through porous border in the north, we need to tighten our border security network. The Navy, the immigration officers and custom officers. Customs in Nigeria, they use guns, they use arms. So they can do that. But the way out of the problem is to even if it demands fencing only the northern part, it will help Nigerians a lot.
What kind of fencing are you looking at?
Original
Digital
fence. If you go to
physical?
America, if you go to US, you see America, they have fence. And we have fund to fence our boundary. If we can fence this boundary, like most of these kidnappers they are arresting in the north, all these Boko Harams, the military officials that are arresting these people, they have not taken real detailed data of the criminals. If they should take real data of the criminals, you see that majority of 70 to 80% of them are not Nigerians. And if they are not Nigerians, why keeping them in the cell? Why even giving them an opportunity for negotiation? Why feeding them in our Nigeria, in our cell in the country?
All right, let's quickly take this call before we go ahead. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, it is Akin calling from Lagos.
I came from Lagos. Good to hear from you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me quickly call your analyst's attention. Saying that we should have fence because America has fence, I don't think that is the real problem. The real fence that we need to have is our leader. Because, the sincerity that is not with our leaders, not only today, right from the onset, is what is bringing all these problems. And when I say our leaders, I don't just mean only political leaders. I mean the religious leaders, most especially, across the religious faith, okay? They are more of politicians' tools that are being used to divide us. Take for instance, in the northern part of Nigeria, once the military starts to do their work effectively, you hear one leader from one part of the country saying that their people are being killed. And there, you weaken the military. They won't be able to do their job the way they're supposed to do it. That's why I want to commend this new chief of army staff, requesting that the governor should leave them to do their job. See, these our leaders, they are actually affecting the work of the military. I don't believe that Nigerian military is not strong enough deal with the crisis. So it is left with Mr. President and his new appointed new Rebadu, which I trusted and I want to believe he is going to display. He should forget about whether he's a Fulani or he's an Igbo man or he's a Yoruba man. Let him look at Nigeria first. And I believe no Rebadu would do that. It's now left for Mr. President to give him the go-ahead. This is what the Nigerian military needs. They are being interrupted. That is not the fact. Both from the southwest, the southeast, and even in the north, you hear people saying, they're killing our people, they're killing our people. It's a lie. They should allow them to do their job. And finally, about the security of this country. See, the security of a country will not be affected only within the country alone. International, they know, the government know. The international community also that has interest in Nigeria can use some of the gullible Nigeria, you understand, to also bring problem into the country. The government know. For example, now, I'm not trying to castigate Inabikanu or the Sunday Go from Yoruba land or whether she come from the north or whoever. You understand? Yes, it's good for you to fight for your people, but another thing is that how sure are we that these people are not being used by the foreigners? Because it's very, very easy for the Western. If they can't penetrate our government, they use from our people. When they see the weakness in our people, they know how to divide us. They settle them with God. How are these guns coming in the first place? These are things that needed to be done. So if the government has to rise to the occasion first, that is just it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Akin, calling us from Lagos. Good to hear from you. All right, I think we should leave that story and go straight to other stories. Nation newspaper says vandals remove fittings on second Niger bridge. The second Niger bridge that we've been waiting for all along, and then it comes forth, and then you have people who go there to vandalize the fittings. How callous can people be?
I can tag that is it's very bad. It's very bad. As a citizen, we all have our role as citizens. We call it a civic responsibility. We all have a role to protecting government facilities within our environment. But what is happening is not just in the southeast. Even in my local government, I got a call from one of my political friend the other day that the rail line from Enugu through Igumale is my local government headquarters, through Igumale to Makurdi up north. Now the boys, they've started removing all the rail, the irons. Even police, military officers within the local government, they are even assisting them. And people are coming to buy from them. It's everywhere. It's not just in the southeast. It's one, you can target to poverty. They have collected 10,000, 20,000 naira from politicians after the election, during the election period. And now that money they have collected from politicians is not there with them again. And they are not going back for another campaign immediately.
So they have
they have to survive. And there's no job, nothing. If you, every morning, you yourself, you live, I think from your village too, you'll be feeling the heat. Calls, urgent 2K everywhere, even some of your schoolmates.
Exactly. Even people you don't expect that you think that it's.
The other day I read on the newspaper, I read online where some of these Nollywood actors and actresses calling their colleagues for assistance. It's all over. The pressure, the financial pressure on Nigerians today is too harsh. It's too harsh. So the best thing to them, if we remove this to sell and help ourselves, government will still come and fix it. Right now, we are not even having the money. We are not seeing the money from them. They are the ones stealing, looting everything. So if we remove it, they will still come and replace it with our money. It's still our money that they're using doing this.
So are you making an excuse for them? Are you saying it's right?
What I am telling you is that they are not doing the right thing. But what is pushing them to doing what they are doing is what I'm telling you. You will not have the mind to do that as citizens. I will not have the mind to do it. But that we will not have the mind to do it. Are there no other persons on the street that will have the mind to do it? So government, in the first instance, government should first provide security to those areas. Public facilities in Nigeria should be provided good security. If
Right.
not, like all these private network providers, anywhere you see their masks,
Their
you see
masks.
security. They build house and employ security that will be guiding the place.
Right.
So any public facilities across the country should be provided with better security. We have police in all local government in Nigeria. The 774 local government in Nigeria, we have police enough. If they are not enough, they should recruit more.
All right, let's land on this note. Nation's newspaper says, "Don't be scared of witch hunt," Alia tells Othom. And then Vanguard newspaper came out to say, "Why Atiku is angry with me," and the G5 members coming from Othom. Looks like Othom is almost in all the newspaper headlines this morning. And then Punch newspaper says, "After Obasanjo's revelation, Atiku can't label me corrupt," coming from the same Othom. What is actually happening with Othom? All is well.
The issue of our former governor, Governor Othom in Benue State, anybody that takes over from Othom, if you have, if you are coming truly from the people, as a governor, say you take over from Othom, there's no how. It's not issue. It's not an issue of what we want. There's so much corruption. So in fact, the whole system in Benue State collapsed. So it's not witch hunt. If it is witch hunt, the Othom, is he a saint? He's not. He witch hunt Suswan, the person he took over from 2015, up to the level point of taking him to EFCC. So it's not witch hunt. Like the vehicle that I read yesterday,
they took some
where
vehicles.
about 29 vehicles, he went and kept 29 vehicles in a car stand belonging to him. And the current governor, he set up a recovery committee. And they went to pull out the vehicles, and they faced a serious kind of fight. They were almost fighting. So you see, Othom issue is just vehicle. We are not talking about funds, looted funds. Over 700 and something billion, 80 something billion naira debt on the neck of every citizen now in Benue State. No salary was paid for over how many months? Over about a year and in Benue State. And there is no local government, out of the 23 local government in Benue State, there's no local government you will go and see one one single project started, executed and commissioned by the immediate past government. So if the current governor, His Excellency Alia, want Othom to pay for everything they are taking from Benue, Othom will just collapse and die, because he can't. He can't. If they are, they should go all out. If you go to Oracle Business Center, the only business working in Benue State is Goshen Water, which is owned by Othom. Plastic, all these plastic chairs, plastic industry owned by Othom. Nothing, everything in Benue State owned by Othom, using government public funds to establish all of this, not for the use of a public. It's for his own personal use and his family. No pensioner was paid for how many years Othom spent as governor in Benue State. Workers were not paid. No employment for 8 years. Everything. So it's not an issue of witch hunt. If it is witch hunt, as I said earlier, he did the same thing to Suswan. He did the same thing to the current SGF, Akume. So they should take back everything he has taken from Benue people, from him.
All right, so in 1 minute, if you can help us, 1 minute, how do you actually deal with this reprisal attacks and insecurity? Especially, we saw the story that happened last weekend, Saturday, I think it's in Akuna in Benue State. How do you actually deal with it? I saw a story, the report yesterday saying that at least 25 people announced dead in the area.
The current administration of President Tinubu is not doing badly. He's coming out anytime, like the other attack in Plateau State, he came out openly to say, giving order to the Nigerian security chiefs that they should fish out the perpetrators. The one that has happened in Benue is not new to anybody again. Benue issue has been there for some time now. And now that we are just coming out of election, And another way again that the outsiders should be looking at the Benue problem is that the current governor was accused of being supported by the external body, especially the Fulanis. They said it is the Fulanis that brought him to come and assisting the Fulanis. So it could be political. It could be from the other side.
But I heard him say that it is still, you are the ones killing yourselves. It is still indigenes killing themselves.
Who says so?
God, not earlier.
Yes, on this platform I have been saying it. That is what I'm saying. It could be that the political enemies of the current governor would want to do that to denting his image and his government, his administration, to say, yes, we said it, that if you give this chance to Alia, he will allow Fulani to come and kill us.
Oh, wow.
You understand? So
that
is one side to it. Another side to it, if it is truly coming from herdsmen and Fulanis, as it used to be in the past, then there should be a holistic negotiation. If it demands negotiation, so that there will be permanent peace in Benue State. The killing is enough. It should be enough by now.
Most definitely. That's a fine way to end this segment of the show. Thank you so much, Richard Oriri. It's always a pleasure having this talk with you.
Pleasure.